Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa. Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, West Alabama, internet world, right here in downtown Northport. How we doing on this wonderful day? You're watching another episode of the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. Want to encourage you guys to follow us at Bama Central. Make sure you pay attention and subscribe to our other Bama Central podcast. We got all things Bama with Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon, and our friends Blue Collar Unplugged with Matthew Gibson, Jacob Pickle, and Blake Byler. The three of us together make up the Bama Central Broadcasting Network, and we are so excited. We are just a couple of days away from Alabama taking on MTSU. Very happy. We talked to Sam Doughton yesterday on the program, MTSU staff writer, and on Monday we caught up with Eric Anders. If you missed either of those conversations, you can check them out right there on all the platforms we just hit Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon. You can hit it at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I am at Joe Gaither6 for all your comments, questions, queries, and concerns. Make sure you follow us on any of the social medias of your choice. And everybody get down to Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday. Alabama kicking off at 6:30. And I'm very excited about our guest today. We're going to be joined by Alabama inside linebacker, Mr. Darren Mustin. Darren Mustin is going to be one of the two honorary captains. We already heard from Eric Anders earlier in the week. Darren Mustin played for the Crimson Tide from 2005 to 2007, but has a very interesting connection with the MTSU Blue Raiders. Darren, how are you doing today? I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for carving out some of your busy week.
I'm good. I'm glad to be on the show. I know I'm wearing blue, but I'm at work. I work for TSU right now. I know we're going against the Blue Raiders, and the story of me and MTSU in Alabama is kind of ironic, especially this week coming up.
Absolutely. I was just kind of doing some research, and the first thing that I saw was, Brentwood Academy. I'm from Chattanooga. I'm a McCallie man, so kind of a little rivalry there, but y'all always kicked our tail, so it's all right. I'll concede to that. And then obviously MTSU and Alabama, big time connection. You left the Blue Raiders in 2004. You left a football scholarship with MTSU to walk on to Alabama. What went into that decision? Let's just start right there. What went into that decision to take a huge risk, leaving a scholarship to come to and play in Tuscaloosa?
It all boiled down to relationships. I mean, this is way before the transfer portal was ever popular. I didn't feel the relationships were correct. And I figured, okay, I can sit in this position where I'm in, or I can change my cards. And I got a shout out to this guy named Theo Townsend. Theo Townsend was a running back at Alabama at the time, and he was one of my good friends growing up. He still is. And I called him one day after the game. I played at North Texas at MTSU, and I did a really good job, but I was just mad because they wouldn't play me. And he was like, bro, come to Bama. And, through him, I got to meet this guy named Antoine Caldwell. He was my roommate. Another guy named BJ Stabler. He was my roommate. And those relationships were just powerful. And it's nothing against the people that I knew at MTSU, nothing against those coaches. It's just getting the opportunity to play for Nick Saban is just, that was unexpected. Having Kevin Steele back at Bama is making me excited because that was my position coach. And I'll never forget the first meeting I've had with either coaches. And those relationships were really strong. And I'm blessed. I really am. I didn't expect anything to happen. I just went and put my best foot forward. And all these years later, I'm coming back.
Absolutely, and you're hitting right into where we're headed tonight, today, and I really appreciate your transparency. You come to Alabama in 2005 before the transfer portal, and you sit out a whole year. You're playing for Coach Shula, and then 2006 you're playing for Coach Shula, getting on the field a little bit, and then as you said, unexpected. Nick Saban, Coach Shula, unfortunately has a little bit underwhelming success. So Coach Saban gets hired, and Kevin Steele is your position coach. That's a perfect transition. What do you said you remember both of those meetings. What was your meetings like with Kevin Steele?
All right. I'll never forget it. First meeting, he's like talking about all this legendary linebackers. He's like, you know what kind of linebacker I want? Come here, catch this piece of paper. So he puts this piece of paper in there and it's floating down. People trying to catch it softly. He let Rolando McClain try to catch it. He misses it. And then he's like, do it to me. So he pushes it, starts floating, he just crushes it. It's like, that's what I want. That's what kind of linebacker I want. I was like, oh, snap. So, that's just his mentality. I'm really excited. I hope they come back and, bring it to the glory. Defense has always been great. Even when I was with Coach Shula, I had an extremely awesome coach in Coach Kynes. Coach Kynes coached this linebacker named D'Amico Ryans. Beast. So that just being able to be on the same field and witness what Coach Kynes and D'Amico Ryans and all they did, it was epic. And I was just blessed to be a part of that, you know. And then I got my opportunity, walked on. I never forget going to the office of Coach Saban, like, do I need to take out some more loans? He's like, no, I got you. And then that was just it. And I'm just blessed. It was a big blessing just to make that move, take that leap of faith, and, you know, go to Bama.
Absolutely, and you hit on Coach Kynes. Everybody remembers the Colorado. They're hitting us with the inside trap. One story that I used to hear from about Coach Kynes was he used to yell on the practice field, "Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die." I actually worked just a short time with the football program in 2008, so I caught kind of the tail end of his recruits. Talk about Joe Kynes. I think a lot of people kind of make him out to be maybe a caricature based on some of those funny comments. But talk about what his impact on you guys and on the room. Obviously, D'Amico Ryans has had great success in the NFL, and then obviously since he's been coaching. Talk about just Joe Kynes and really what kind of a coach and how he really impacted your football team.
I remember he used to tell all the coaches, you got to recruit and you got to win. And he wasn't kidding. And the man is smart. He was just a legendary guy, man. And I never forget, he came up to me after the Arkansas game, and he was like, well, you could play some ball. And like that right there just hit my soul. I was like, wow, Coach Kynes said that to me. And like just to see all the legendary people, and like he didn't cuss. Like he said he used to cuss a lot, but he really didn't cuss. But he will insult you with some awesome metaphors. like I don't want to say them all, but one of my favorites, you dumber than dirt. you pissing up a rope.
I love that.
Like stuff like that. It's like he was a great guy, great coach, great motivator, great mentor. But like I was on the scout team, so I really didn't have him as a position coach that strong. I was a scout team guy, so my main guy was Kevin Steele.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin Steele and Coach Saban, really Kevin Steele has been rehired for Coach Saban's implementation or reestablishing the Alabama standard. We've heard that for maybe the last 2 years. Oh, we want to get back to the Alabama standard. What was it like in 2007 when the new coaching staff came in? Obviously, they were wanting to establish the Bama standard at that point, or their Bama standard at that point. What practically will the guys on this year's team be experiencing that maybe is parallel to the 07 team, the attitude or philosophy, or even just practically coaching? What does it mean to reestablish the Bama standard under Kevin Steele and Nick Saban?
I mean, the Bama standard is that. It's the fourth quarter program. It's dominating. It's, you know, you play us, you're not going to get anything easy. But to get exactly what they're going to expect, I don't know. That's 16 years ago.
Sure.
That's like a lot of evolution. I mean, my strength coach was Cochran. He's a position coach now at Georgia. You know, there's been a lot of turnover. You know, Nick Saban is running things a little differently. There's a lot of science that's implemented into things. So I can't say exactly what they're going to be expecting. Me as a fan now, I'm expecting, you know, nothing easy, disciplined football, you know, stuff like that. Nothing like I'm just going to be honest with you. Just the penalties and stuff like that, that's not the Bama standard. I'm expecting discipline, doing the little things right. And I'm excited for the season. So pulling up Saturday is going to be a good time.
What was the culture change like there from 2006 to 7 when the new staff came in?
All right, true story.
Love true story.
Recruits. It's the recruits. Back in the day, my apartment was the party apartment. You know, it was after Roman Pep left. I was at the university, I think Village. We had a pool table right outside of. It was a pool table in the pool right outside of our apartment. So the recruits would come to our house, and I never forget it. We had the new Xbox, we had the Halo, we had all of the setup. In my room was the studio, so everybody came to the house. All right, sitting on the couch, this big dude was named Mount Cody. Y'all know who he was. He was taking up half the couch. I was like, okay, that's pretty good, big guy. And then on the other half of the couch was this guy named Julio Jones. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm like, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? all right, I don't have recruits because I was a walk-on, but my roommates did. And then there's this kid in the corner. His neck was thick. I mean, huge neck. I thought he was a JUCO transfer. I was like, hey, what's up? What's your name? He's like, I'm Dante. Oh, Dante what? I'm Dante Hightower. Oh, okay. You a JUCO? No, I'm 17. What? And then there's this smaller guy in the back corner. So I was like, I'll say what's up to him. That's just Mark Ingram, first Heisman Trophy winner. So, like, the biggest thing I saw was the recruits. They were ready from day one. Shula did his thing, had a lot of great recruits, but just stacks after stacks after stacks of just dudes. I was like, wow, I'm glad I'm graduating. I don't know if I'll be able to play.
Well, you did get a pretty significant playing time in 2007. You made your first start against Western Carolina the first week of the season, and ended up splashing right there on SportsCenter in the first day. I just looked up the clip, you and Rolando McClain popping that guy's head off. What did it mean to you, or what was your reaction going from walk-on to scholarship player to bam, first week, I'm on SportsCenter top plays?
That was an epic night. The phone wouldn't stop ringing, but people don't realize I didn't make that hit. I just celebrated harder. Rolando made that hit. We just got there simultaneously, but Ro hit him harder, and I cleaned it up, and I just stand up and flexed. And because I didn't feel anything. And Rose said he had a headache and everything. He took everything. So, like, he actually got the hit. I just celebrated harder and got on TV. I mean, it was a great time. And people don't realize that was my first game starting. I am a redshirt senior. Rolando is a true freshman. And we are both starting for the first time. And, you know, he was like, people don't realize how much of a freak of an athlete Rolando McClain actually was. Just anything he really wanted to do, he could do. So, like, it was fun starting. It was awesome getting that opportunity, playing in front of that stadium in Bryant-Denny. It still gives me chills, man.
Well, you've been very busy in the college football world or in the college athletics world, coaching at USC, coaching at UMass as well, and coaching at Dartmouth and Army. So just a question, how often do you make it back to Bryant-Denny Stadium?
I think last year I made it to an Ole Miss game. Not very much because I'm working with college athletes right now. And our season, I got fall season sports, spring season sports, so not as much. It's always good to go back and, you know, to see my hands and feet print and Denny chimes, and it's like moving up. There's a lot more names after me now, so you got to walk a little bit further, but it's fun to go back. That's why I'm excited to go back this Saturday. You know, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was getting at, just how special it's going to be. You'll be at the Bryant Museum on Friday, correct?
Yeah, I'll be pulling up.
Absolutely. And so people who want to meet Darren Mustin and Eric Anders, they'll be at the Bryant Museum on Friday. And, of course, you'll be right there at the coin toss for everybody as an honorary captain. And we're really excited about that. It'll be the season opener, 6:30 on Saturday night over there at Bryant-Denny Stadium. What was it like for you in 2005 when Alabama, you had just made your transfer? You just made your transfer in 2005, and MTSU is the first game on the schedule. Obviously, you're technically, I guess, redshirted at that point because you had to sit out for transfer rules. What was that experience like, watching the team you had just left come in and play the team you had just joined? Obviously, Alabama wins, but just what is that experience like for you, observing that on the sidelines?
I was actually in the stands because I was ineligible.
Okay.
It was weird. It was tough because in the back of my head, I was like, did I make the right decision? Like, I could be playing right now. Like, I was starting. Like, did I make the right decision? And, you know, you make that battle your whole life. You got to learn to live with regrets or not. And, you know, this is just this week coming up is a little bit of proof from the man above. Like, yeah, you did make the right decision. It's okay. So seeing them play at the time was tough. Wishing I can go out there and play was even harder, knowing I was ineligible and I'm paying for school now. But 16 years down the road, you know, I'm so glad I made the decision.
Absolutely. One thing I was reading in your studying and getting ready for this interview was you are one of 14 brothers. You have 13 brothers and a sister, so it's 14-person household. And then you talk about faith, the man above. I love that. But basically, I'm reading that your parents really were involved in ministry with children and with adoption and things like that. How did that impact you as a person, just as a young person, and now as a coach? Really, how did those foundations impact you and set you on a path?
I became a big brother. Um, I'm the oldest boy, and there's only one older than me, my older sister. So like everybody else was looking up to me, and I have some siblings that are not here anymore, so it's tough. But and all the things, it helped build my faith, help build your faith. Like you look back and you see like, how did mom and dad do that?
Yes.
Like how in the world did I grow up in Brentwood, Tennessee, on a single income household? How did I go to Brentwood Academy with all these other siblings? Always had food, always had something to wear, always had some vehicles, and it just built my faith. I mean, just my life and faith and like just these different things that happened in your life, ups and downs, lefts and rights. You got to have something that's a foundation, and my parents helped build a strong foundation of faith. And you know how life gets. Life can get kind of tough, and if you don't have that structure of faith, man, they say it's a spiritual warfare out there, and I mean it is real. It's very,
Absolutely.
very real. And now I talked to my friend the other day. We're coming up on the age where getting up there where parents are dying and diseases are entering if you have them in your life. I'm late 30s, early 40s. That's what it is. And just having faith that, okay, here's life. Nothing's promised. Put forth the good faith. Do the right thing. Try to live righteous and keep it moving, knowing nobody's perfect. That's all I can say. Just build my faith. That's what my parents did.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I have three sisters, and so when I think about like my own household, and then I read yours, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like times three with the siblings, and just incredible to kind of read through some of your story and read about your time here in Tuscaloosa. That 2007 season was obviously it wasn't as successful as the rest of the Nick Saban era was, but very, very important foundationally for Nick Saban. Can you talk about really? I've heard a lot of stories of the Independence Bowl, going out to the Independence Bowl, and really Coach Saban not being very happy with that trip or that result being out there. Can you tell us just a little insight about what is like going to Shreveport? Obviously Alabama had been there the year prior, so 2 years in a row in Shreveport. What was Coach Saban's attitude towards ending up at the Independence Bowl?
I mean, he's not happy. Man, he was really upset. I remember at my senior banquet, he was mad and cussing everybody out. And I'm like, what? But we're done. But it was the second year at Shreveport. First year it was with Shula. We stayed in a casino. Second year, we stayed with Coach Saban way away from the casinos. But I have to tell you this. I had more fun the second year when we didn't stay in the casino versus when we did stay in the casino. It was more fun. I had more fun with the players. We did more things together. We did win our bowl game.
Yes.
But we did kind of fall off at the end of the year. We kind of dropped a few games, so nobody was really expecting us to do much. He was really upset, but he used that bowl game to really try to build and invest into the future. He loved on the seniors, let us do what we needed to do, but he really built upon the future. And I'm glad we pulled away with that win. My last game I played in Bryant-Denny, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it at all, but it happened. And, I remember talking to Terry Saban. I don't know if she remembers this, but when I was there, she was like, I think we're going to win it in 3 years here. I think she said it took us 4 years at LSU, but one of our first years, they lost to somebody bad too at the beginning of LSU. She's like, I think we're going to lose to somebody bad, but I don't want to. And sure enough, we lost that game, but then she called it. She's like, it's going to be 3 years and we're going to win it. And she won. I was like, wow, she called it. So like that's just little things like that. It was fun. So long ago, I don't remember any plays.
Sure.
7 cut. That's probably about it. But yeah.
Awesome. That's great. For those who are living under a rock, Darren is referring to losing to Louisiana Monroe, and we won't get into that at all. But it did really, Coach Saban used the '07 team to set the foundation for years going forward. I was a freshman in 2008, and that was the year that I worked for the team, and it was just insane being around there. Obviously, that ended up being 12-2, and losing the bowl game to Utah in that sense, but just the business demeanor the entire year of 2008, I believe, was really set in place during Coach Saban's first year in 2007. What is one thing that Coach Saban and Coach Steele have really implemented to you that you've taken through into your coaching life? Obviously, you're not coaching football, but strength and conditioning, lots of similarities, lots of parallels. What were some of the lessons that you learned at Alabama, or what is something that you're taking into your coaching days?
Don't be nobody's friend up front. Nah, I'm not your friend. I'm here to get business done. I'm here to get work done. So up front, this is what it is. This is my standards, and stick to those standards. That's one thing that I gotta say. Coach Saban said in first meeting, he said best person's gonna play. He stuck to his word. He stuck to his standard. Both of them. That's just, and then intensity from Coach Kevin Steele. I told about a story. I talked about the story already. Him catching the paper. Just at the meeting rooms, just the intensity of the man brought, just getting work done, even when you don't feel like you want to work with somebody because it's just difficult working with some people, you still get the job done. So that's what I really took from them. It's been a while. I talk to Coach Steele probably once a year. I talk to Coach Saban probably once a decade. So that's just what it is.
Sure.
But like standards, holding the standard and sticking to the standard. And one thing that Coach Saban really, I didn't get to experience it, but the fighting of complacency that he did the years after I left is another thing I try to instill with the teams that I work with. You know, you got to learn to win, and then you got to learn to deal with success. And a lot of times people get that win and then get complacent and don't know how to deal with that success. So that's something that I really try to instill into the teams that I work with now.
We're talking to Darren Mustin, former Alabama linebacker from 2005 to 2007, and the winner of the Most Inspirational and Bear Bryant Awards in the spring of 2007. You've already talked about going into Coach Saban's office. Do I need to take out more loans? How on edge, I guess, would you have said, or how measure your football career at that point? If you had not gotten scholarship money, would you have had to walk away from the university at that point, or just how what was that like, earning that scholarship and really being able to tell your parents, hey, we're gonna, this year's gonna be just a touch easier financially?
I was taking loans out for myself. I made a decision myself. There's just something called burning the boats. I had made that journey. I can either get in the boat and tuck tail and go back to a different school, or I could burn the boats and say, hey, this is it. So I burned the boats. I was like, I'm going to graduate from this school. I'm going to try my best. And then whatever happens, happens. And once it actually happened and I got a scholarship, I was like numb. I was like, screw, I wasn't even celebrating much. I went and told my friends and they went ecstatic. But I was just like, yeah, okay, here it is. But then that just let me know, all right, I'm going to have an opportunity to play. And then I got that opportunity, and then I looked up, I'm starting. I'm like, what in the world? That's it.
Going from Brentwood to being at MTSU to choosing to walk on and then earning a scholarship to starter, just a massive journey. How do you use that journey to really coach or encourage maybe players or athletes who are in challenging positions in your own life?
I don't know. I think I'm crazy at some point. Just doesn't make sense, but just go for it, man. Like, just go for it. Sometimes you just gotta go for it. Like, rest in peace, my brother Tate. One thing he would always do, he would just try. You tell him, you can't do this. Watch me try. You can't watch me try. And then later on in his life, he told me he got that attitude because I walked on that Bama. Because my little brother took on life of, I'm going to just try. Because my big brother Just said, I'm going to try. I remember I literally had a conversation with my high school coach before I transferred. I asked him, should I do it? He looked me in the eye and said, no, you need to go somewhere lower so you can play. I said, thank you very much. I didn't listen to him.
That's I mean, from an ignorant perspective, that sounds a little disrespectful from your high school coach. He didn't believe in you.
Well, I mean, you gotta remember the generation I grew up in. It
Sure.
was a little different. We didn't have all this social media. We didn't have this woke culture. I could horse collar tackle you and not get a penalty. I was taught, take this part of your helmet, put it right here, and knock the best player out. That way we go to Pizza Hut and win. When I was 7 years old, that's how I would learn the game. So this is a totally different generation and totally different everything. I can't apply everything we did then to now.
Sure.
I just can't.
One of the big games in 2007 was against Arkansas. Alabama, back and forth game, ended up with Matt Caddell catching the touchdown in the end zone. What was your memories from that game from a defensive standpoint and really on the sidelines towards the end of the game when John Parker's throwing it in the end zone and Matt Caddell, brings it in and Alabama goes home happy?
Happy we won. I'm so mad at that game still. I only played one quarter. I got hurt. I was balling. Like, I found a cheat code. Like, no lie. I was watching film a lot because I was terrified. I knew their whole backfield was good. All three of them played in the NFL. One of them was on the cover of Madden. But I was watching film. I was just terrified. Watching film, and I found a cheat code. And I literally did not listen to any of the coaches' plays the whole game. I just followed the cheat code, and it was working. Like, I had a pick. I had like 3 tackles for loss. It was working. Then I hurt my neck. And then they took me to the locker room and they took my helmet, and I was so mad. I was like so mad, hurt my neck, and I couldn't play. And then they came back because we were dominating at the first. Like, I was shutting them. I go back and look that I was shutting them down because I was cheating. I knew a cheat code, but then I got hurt, and my backup, he didn't really watch as much film as me, so they kept running on that same side, and they came back. Like,
do you
that's
remember
what I remember the most.
Was it a pulling guard somewhere or somebody stepped something?
No, my safety hit me. Like, I hit McFadden, and then my safety came and hit me, and then I blacked out, and then I woke up, and I was like, I'm good. And I was like, no, you're not. And they did some tests. It was like, yeah, you're done. I was like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yes, you are. Can't really fight the trainers.
Absolutely, that's terrible. But
I'm glad we won. I'm glad
Absolutely.
P-Dub pulled it through at the end. Glad he won that game. That was huge.
Absolutely. One thing I read when I'm researching is you during your time at Army, you are responsible for a little bit of a tradition that has started at Army. Responsible for the tsunami tradition. For those who don't know, it's a kind of a techno song that now gets played in the Army Stadium. What was your involvement with that, and just how? I mean, Army, the pride, one of the pride of the pride of the military schools, to leave a mark on Army. What does that mean to you?
All right, here's the story.
Yeah,
I was talking to this girl, and she was in charge of like the events at the game, and they came to us. They was like, "Hey, we need something to get everybody going." So my roommate at the time was named Will Greenberg. He's a strength coach with the Buffalo Bills. Will was like, "I think I got a song." I was like, let me hear it. And he played Tsunami, Drop. I was like, okay, that's going to be fly. I got the song and took it to her. I was like, if you don't play the song, I'm going to find you. All right, just straight, I'm going to find you. Play the song. She's like, are you sure? I'm not sure. I was like, play the song. Came to it, started playing it. They got hype. Everybody jumping. Boom, boom. And we're like, I'm high-fiving Will. We got him. Yes, sir. Because it was Will who found it. I helped implement it. Another thing I helped implement, they changed the hand signal, but their fourth quarter warrior program that they're doing now at Army West Point, I kind of stole what we did with Cochran and with Saban at Bama, because one thing that Cochran did my first year, he put 2 numbers up on the window sills, and these numbers were our fourth quarter scores. So I did that exact same thing at Army, and notice we were getting destroyed. It was like 50 to like 160. We were getting outscored that much in the fourth quarter. And I brought it to Coach Monken. He was like, all right, make something about it. So we made up a fourth quarter warrior, just competitions randomly, and I think it helped. And the tsunami song now is so huge. At the end of the year, the lady that I said you better play the song, she got a raise.
You get a commission off of it?
Huh?
You get a
No.
little commission?
Don't worry about what I got, but hey, she got a raise because they still do it. It's pretty awesome. Now I watch the Army Navy game every year. I got an Army flag in my garage. People think I went to the military. I was like, nah, I was a part of that program, and the kids there are phenomenal. Like, they're leaders of America. Like, some of the things they do will blow your mind. And some of the changes that we had to do to help them be successful in football will blow your mind. Like, it's a lot of things I help implement in different places I go, but that's one of the things that I kind of chuckle at.
I have a bunch of friends who went to Georgia Southern. So when Coach Monken left Georgia Southern to go to Army, they were all brokenhearted because he was such a quality coach, and they're like, "Oh, we got to go find somebody else." But they had a lot of high praise for Coach Monken, and he's still at Army, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Darren, this has been a huge blast, and I really appreciate you giving me some of your time today. We look forward to seeing you in Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday. What are what are your expectations now that Kevin Steele is back? We talked about him at the very beginning, and we'll kind of wrap it up with Kevin Steele again and expectations. What are your thoughts on really you're hearing a lot of the things you said, no penalties and getting it mental reps. You've watched Alabama over the last couple of years. 17 penalties against Texas, 16 penalties against Tennessee, missed tackles here, missed tackles there, some schematic questions. What is your expectation, having played for Coach Steele and really seeing what Nick Saban has put back into the program over the last 6 or 8 months?
Well, everybody's got a standard. I'm expecting the standard. That's it. If the standard is not delivered, then what we doing? I mean, I'm expecting relentlessness. I'm expecting organized chaos. That's defense. I'm expecting execution, but I'm a fan. These kids are 18 to 22-year-olds. Every week is different. They go through different things mentally. You're not the same cat at 26 as you are at 22, as you are at 18, as you are at 12. You evolve.
Certainly.
So what is the evolution of this team? We'll see. Every year is different. I mean, we all know the standard. We all know what we're expecting. But are they going to execute and deliver? That's it. I'm expecting just passion. That's it. Pride. That's it. That's it. I don't know what else to say.
There you go. That's great. We talked to Eric Anders earlier in the week, and he's going to be joining you as honorary captain. Just real quick, do you have anything? You and Eric crossed over just a little bit of time. I believe his freshman and sophomore year was in Tuscaloosa while you were there. Do you have any memories of Eric Anders? And obviously, I love watching him now in MMA.
Oh, of course. That was my year. I was ineligible when they were on scout team. So
okay.
I was scout team with them. So that whole class, I know, the whole group. I even ran into Eric Anders a couple weekends ago here in Nashville at the fights, And one thing I knew about Eric, he always would work hard. So we would have mat drills in the morning, and sometimes he would lead a line, and then I would lead a line because the linebackers were together. He would lead, I would lead, and he was always relentless. He would always compete hard. He was always just a super athlete, not necessarily the biggest, but you would never know it. And that's just who I expected Eric to be. And now I'm a big fan of him, your boy, EA, fighting. I talked to him. I was like, man, I don't know how you do what you do, but I love it. And he's like, man, I love it. He loves fighting. He's always been a fighter. He's always been a competitor. He's always went 100% at whatever he did. So when he started fighting, of course, I'm going to tune in.
Outside of football, during your time in Tuscaloosa, what was something that maybe you'll always take away from Tuscaloosa? And then maybe a part B, this coming up weekend, you're obviously going to be participating in a lot of university-led events. Is there anything that you're looking forward to or wanting to see or do outside of those university-led events here in Tuscaloosa?
I get some food. I forgot the name of some nachos. I always get, I think, mug shots. The burger joint.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if Sharky's is still there. It was his fried
fish and chips. Yes.
Man, every Friday I would go there, but relationships, people, that's the main thing that I do the most. Seeing Eric again, seeing BJ, maybe run into Coach Steele, and who else knows who I'll run into. It's just the relationships, the people. The campus looks nothing the same. Nothing. The tornado came in after I graduated, so even McFarland looks different.
Yes, major.
So I'm excited. I'm just looking forward to get back and just see the people, see the town, eat some food, have a good time.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you're at Tennessee State now, and guys, if anyone wants to connect with you, you can do so by following them at Coach_D_Mustin. We're really looking forward to having you back in Tuscaloosa. I'll just open up the floor the last little bit for you. Is there anything that we can follow or support you on, or any way that we can get behind you, or any message that you want to leave for the Alabama fans watching and listening?
No, Joe, I don't have any big messages. I don't have any hidden. I don't. I'm
That's all good.
I go out and coach, work with athletes. Just support your local teams. If you can invest into HBCU and just look at the culture, invest into them, just to take a look at it. Everybody knows the SEC, the big Power Fives. But there's a lot of other athletes in other different categories and other different platforms that compete just as hard. So just tune in, support your HBCU every once in a while. That's pretty much it. I'm excited. To be honest, I'm just excited to get back. I think this is so ironic. There's no bigger irony than me coming back. I never expected to be a captain, to come back honorary captain. But then I'm blessed, and then just my friends say, hey, this is a big deal, and I agree, and I'm excited. It's a really big deal, really big deal.
I totally agree, and I cannot tell you how excited I was or I am to have had this conversation with you. I didn't want to put you on the spot there with that, but I always like to leave a wide open room for anybody to kind of get anything off their chest if I left anything off. But I really appreciate your time. I hope that you enjoy it. I'll be one of the 100,000 cheering for you at Bryant-Denny Stadium this Saturday.
I'm not sure you're going to be cheering for me. But
we'll be, don't say at the very beginning our honorary captains are Eric Anders and Darren Mustin, and they'll read off all your hand, and we'll be cheering for you.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited, Joe. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on. Really do appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Darren. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much, sir.
You as well.
That was Alabama linebacker Darren Mustin. He played here from 2005 to 2007. He was on Coach Saban's first team, and he played at MTSU before he came to Alabama. In the days before the transfer portal, jumped in the transfer portal or decided to transfer to Alabama without a scholarship, walked on here with the Crimson Tide, and then earned a scholarship from head coach Nick Saban. Really appreciate Darren Mustin giving me some of his time today. You guys can make sure you follow him again on Instagram at Coach_D_Mustin. And now we've had both of the Alabama honorary captains on the program this week. We talked to Eric Anders on Monday, and that was our man Darren Mustin. Make sure you go give them a shout out, give them a follow, and get ready to support them at Alabama's first home game that's coming up Saturday at 6:30. Crimson Tide playing MTSU as we get the season kicked off. That's going to do it for our program today. Make sure you go out and follow our other BamaCentral podcast, All Things Bama, with Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon, and Blue Collar Unplugged with Blake Byler, Matthew Gibson, and Jacob Pickle. The three of us together, the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, make up the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network. You can find me on the social medias at Joe Gaither6 for all of your social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you want to find me at Joe Gaither6. Send me your comments, your questions, queries, and concerns. We really appreciate all our guests this week. We're going to have Jay McPhillips, Yay Alabama's Jay McPhillips, the executive director, on the program tomorrow. So you won't want to miss his rebuttal to my conversation a couple of weeks ago where I talked about Yay Alabama. Jay McPhillips is going to be on the program tomorrow, and we really look forward to that right here on the Joe Gaither Show. We'll be back with Jay McPhillips tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.